to personalized jewelry. Silhouettes are popping up everywhere. A huge trend right now. And in a Studio 5 Trend Alert, fresh ways you can create your own customized silhouettes. Designer Christine McKay is here with some adorable ideas. I have been looking forward to this topic for a long time because every design catalog you pick up, silhouettes are page to page.
Exactly. I've been seeing them everywhere, and especially all of the vinyl wall art that's so popular right now with the birds and the trees. And so I tried to take that, and as you know, I always like to personalize my home decor.
You're really good at that.
I didn't realize what the effect it would have on me when I actually did silhouettes of my children and I cut them out. It was just so cool.
You said it's almost an emotional experience when you see those cute little silhouettes and faces in your home.
I thought they were cute, but I kind of thought back to kindergarten, you know, when you trace your profile pic. But when I cut them out, I was like, oh my gosh, it just meant so much more to me. So it's a way to have some of the trend in your home, but also keep those memories with your children.
Okay, how do you actually make the silhouette of your kids?
There are two ways to do it. The first way is probably the easiest. If you know Photoshop or a photo processing program on your computer, you can just remove the background, flood fill the silhouette with black. But what I wanted to show today, and you can step by step on my website, it'll walk you through how to do it. But
for
today
the Photoshop option?
Yeah.
Okay.
But today I just wanted to show you that basically what you'll do is you just take a side profile picture of your child.
Okay.
You'll want to make sure they're standing up against a wall that's kind of contrasting their hair and clothes. Take a picture, and then what you can do is just with a pair of scissors, just go ahead and just trace around their silhouette. Just cut around it. For if you've got little stray hairs, those are kind of fun to leave in. So use an X-Acto knife.
Oh, I was going to say, do you avoid the little details, or do you work them in?
It depends on how much work you want to do. As you can see on the wall behind you, Brooke, on the very last picture, that is a picture of my son. And as you can see, that's kind of what made me giggle, because his hair is so much his personality. So had I left it off, it wouldn't have quite had that pop of his personality.
Okay.
But if you're using an X-Acto knife, you know, it might be a little more tricky.
So you cut it out.
So you just cut around it. And then once you do that, you can trace it onto a piece of paper. And now you've got your pattern for your child.
Oh, look at that.
And you can just copy that onto black paper. You can resize it in your photocopier and do it with a myriad of different materials.
I love that. You blew that up a little bit.
I did blow that up a little bit. And like I said, on the copier, you can size it to whatever you need. So you don't need a computer, but that probably is the easiest way.
And the good news is once you've done one, that can serve as your pattern for a variety of projects.
You're good.
Okay.
So one of the first projects that I did was probably my favorite because it was so simple. These right here are luminaries that are just made out of just inexpensive vases that I got. I actually just had some on hand, but you can get these at like Walmart for $2 or $3. And then all I did is I printed out some various silhouettes on vellum.
I want to make sure people see what you started with, because I think a lot of people do have those just
lying around. You know, we all have that cupboard of vases. So you just print out the silhouette onto vellum. You can use, you know, the birds or the ones of your children, and you just wrap it around the vase, and then
it's not hooked on.
It's just barely taped onto the back. And I will say, I started out using vellum tape, but I didn't like the way it looked, and once you lit the candles, it kind of made the stickiness on the tape come undone. So really, I found the best way is to just put a little piece of clear tape on the back to keep the vellum wrapped all the way around. Once these are lit up, Brooke, they are amazing. They just glow, and they're so pretty. But you can use all different just sizes and shapes of vases.
All right, very cute, very cute. And I love this little, I have to put out this little cup here.
Isn't that
little goblet that you use. That's so cute.
The next thing that I did was just with some vinyl transfers, I just put it on a plate. Let me just say, with the vinyl paper, a lot of people associate it with the electronic cutters, because that's kind of why it was introduced to the market. You don't need an electronic cutter. You can purchase the vinyl paper and cut it out by hand and use it as well.
This, I think, high impact for really a simple project. I mean, you put that in a curio or on a table or in the kitchen. And
I have a rack of three plates with all of my children, and it's just so pretty.
Cute. Okay.
Okay, so I just really quickly, so I want to make sure we get to this one, because I had so much fun with this phone bench over here. The fabric on the top, I actually just used, it was just a painter's tarp. So I bought like this big, huge, like probably 4 or 5 yards for just like $5, I think. And so I just used some of the fabric from that to do the cushion. And the transfer on top, once again, it's a product for electronic cutters, but you don't need to use it. It's heat transfer paper by Silhouette. It is the coolest stuff because you can trace it right out on the heat transfer paper and iron it directly on the fabric.
So you copied the Silhouette right onto that heat transfer paper and then ironed it
right on.
That is killer.
It is amazing and easy. And then I just went ahead and decoupaged some paper onto the top. But I love the clean, classic look that gives.
Are you kidding? put that in any corner, in any room. That is what you said your grandma had one like that?
My grandma had one, so when I saw that, it really, once again, it's all about creating the memories for me around the home.
I heart that. That is so cute.
The coasters on top, I wanted to throw in a few really inexpensive, fun gift ideas. What a fun gift for grandma or grandpa. That is just a paper mache box that I covered, and then I did the silhouettes of all of our children and myself and my husband, and put those on little wooden circles, and all of the instructions and downloads are on K Designs. In fact, I forgot to mention there are downloads for the silhouette wraps on there as well.
Okay.
So you just decoupage those on and then top with epoxy and give it away for a beautiful gift for grandma.
Are you kidding? Talk about tear to the eye. Grandmas would love that.
I know.
Grandparents would love that.
Fun?
Yes, or just to have around the house, like you mentioned, those personalized details can make all the difference. Tell us about this wall.
This wall basically is just a myriad of different ideas. Some of the things I wanted to use a bunch of different techniques. So, for instance, the circle in the center, Brooke, with the big, the bling. Can you recognize what that frame could possibly be?
Is it one of those crochet?
It's the old embroidery hoops. And I don't know if you remember this, but when I was younger, we used to cross stitch, and then my mom would sew big ruffly, around it, and we'd hang it on the wall.
Are you kidding? That was cute.
Isn't that fun?
That was in.
So I wanted to try to bring back that look, and so I just used simple embroidery hooks. I used iron transfer paper as well as a heat transfer paper. I wanted to try a couple different techniques to put the shapes on, painted them, added a little bling. You'll notice a little chandelier up top. I thought it was really fun to add a little rhinestones to it to bring that out. And then, of course, I mixed in some pictures with my kids. And then the top one, I wanted to show you don't have to use plain backgrounds. I love that I saw a picture in a magazine where they had used a book background for the silhouettes.
I love that. As the printed background, then you can even use newspaper or book pages or whatever.
Or you can even use colors. It doesn't have to just be black and white.
And what an impact statement. This one down here caught my eye simply because it goes with the whole classic vintage look of the silhouette itself, the frame. When the body of it matches that same vintage charm.
And I wanted to show that one just to show that you don't have to just do the head. You can do the full body. Just be creative and do all sorts of different things. The last one I wanted to show you, Brooke, really quickly was I decided to wear this one today.
Look how cute.
But this is just a simple, kind of like a throwback to the whole cameo necklace. And it's a picture of my daughter when she was younger. And all I did was I traced it onto vinyl paper. I did it by hand, and I put it onto a floral pebble stone. And just attached a hook to it and a ribbon, and there you go. You have a cute little necklace. And that would be a fun gift idea as well.
Mother's Day coming up. That would be perfect. Christine, great ideas. Great inspiration. I'm inspired. I love this. More projects, more Christine projects to add to my to-do list. All right, to review this segment and all of Christine's projects, go to our website. We'll also have a link to kmckdesigns.com where you can get some of the free downloads for the luminaries and also for the coasters. Love it when you're here, Christine. Thank you so much. Brooke. All right, coming up, this month's theme is all about helping you find solutions. From parenting concerns to creative questions, we're going to tackle it all. Well, today, to kick things off, Stampin' Up! Founder Shelley Gardner and parenting specialist Maggie Stevens are here. They're going to share their approach to problem solving. Stay with us.